We will now end this chapter with the testimony of a family that lived in a neighborhood that was engaged in an organized gangstalking campaign. Members in the neighborhood started a horn-blowing campaign at all hours around the property of the targeted family, after there was a dispute with one of the longtime residents of the community. This resident happened to also be the fire chief of the town fire department. Transcript of the ABC News clip, Evidence of Organized Gangstalking Noise Campaign. We've all had nasty neighbors, but an entire town? Think how annoyed you would get when just one person honks at you. Now imagine all your neighbors driving by, sitting on that horn 24/7. Are they tormenting one family, or did that family run out its welcome? We want you to decide. Of all the homes in Hubbard, Ohio, it might be the last one you'd expect folks to fight over, but this vacant house on East Liberty Street is the hottest property since good old Nehemiah Hubbard founded the town 200 years ago. Oh, what a fuss over a little fixer-upper. This all started in 2007 over a simple real estate deal, correct?
Right. It was the property next door here.
Meet Rick and Cindy Curledge, longtime Hubbard residents who say all they wanted to do was buy the property next door. The only problem was it wasn't for sale. These folks, John and Marlene Clement, had inherited half the house. The other half was tied up in court. But Rick Curledge tried to buy it away, even though it had been in the Clement family for generations.
I says, well, you're not going to get my land. That's not right. It's been in my family since 1922. How can you do that? They called me up and they told me to take my bid off the table. And if I didn't take my bid off the table, we'd be bitter enemies for life.
Rick never got the house, but he says he's still paying for what he did. As the town fire chief, Clement had lots of friends, and suddenly Rick and Cindy say it seems like every single one of them was driving by honking the horn, and it wasn't to say hello.
The Clement family conspired together to organize a horn-blowing campaign against us. That's really what this is all about.
Ask not for whom the horn blows. It blows for Rick and Cindy Curledge.
In the beginning, it was 100 times a day.
100 times a day?
100.
So they began planning their payback. Their house now bristles with expensive surveillance cameras. As we were looking them over, just watch what happens.
The last camera was down here on the tree.
Okay, somebody just honked their horn. Did you hear that?
Yes, it's not friendly.
Is that a friendly honk?
Probably not.
Rick says his ear is finely attuned.
I can tell an import horn from a domestic horn.
Who are these horn blowers? Not just people in the town, but people who work for the town, firefighters, including some of the department John Clement ran and policed. Here is one of Hubbard's township's finest, not serving, not protecting, just honking. It's enough to wake the dead. This Hearst caught 10 times. And would you look at this? The horn on the bus goes. Rick and Cindy renamed their dining room the evidence room. There's more in the basement.
There's hundreds and hundreds of this stuff. Photographs and discs and stuff here.
You're like a detective. So when did people start blowing the horns? Were you recruiting people or telling them?
No.
We patrolled around town with the police chief, Jim Taff.
At some point, people began blowing horns, but it became clear it was used to harass the person that lived here.
Curledge began taking horn blowers to court. He says that he got orders of protection against more than a dozen people, and he didn't stop there. He started suing. Somebody beeps. Rick sues. At the Trumbull County Courthouse, the legal paperwork is piling up. Rick is now suing no fewer than 40 alleged hornblowers, including the Clements.
This is at my job, and I don't want to do this, and I'm sad I have to.
It's Curledge versus everybody.